So you know how I'm always like fidgeting with my hair in these videos? Here's an idea. How about I just do this, you know? What about it, huh? You gonna fucking kill me? I'm still fidgeting with it, bro. It doesn't work. So it's been a while since I've made one of these videos. If you watched my last video, you would know that I kind of got burnt out for making these videos like every week. So for now, I'm going to be making these every month. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it really works out this way because I've seen a lot of movies this month in theaters. Most of what I've watched this past month has been Oscar nominees this year because I'm making a full ranked video of all the nominees, and I kind of burnt myself out of movies, to be honest. I was grinding through as much as I could. The thing is like watching 2 or 3 movies a day wouldn't be that exhausting to me if there were movies that I mostly liked. You know, with Oscars, I usually see all of the stuff I really, really like before the nominations come out, and then the nominations come out, and then I have to force myself to watch whatever the fuck the Academy thinks is worthy, which most of the time... Enough about that. Let's talk about what I watched at the theater, mostly in AMC. The first movie I saw in theater this month and also this year was on January 2nd, and it was The Plague, written and directed by Charli Pullinger. I feel like this movie is like super under the radar. It really shouldn't be. The concept of this movie is pretty relatable to me. It basically follows these middle school aged kids. Jesus Christ. What is this, a Reddit movie? The hood is not a good idea. I'm like getting really hot right now. All right, hood's coming off. This movie follows a group of middle school aged kids basically at this water polo summer camp. What's interesting about this movie is that usually with that type of group of kids, there's a bunch of, I guess, being mean to each other, bullying, rumor spreading, and it's treated with the seriousness and elevation of basically like a psychological horror movie. Yeah, I think it does it pretty well. There is something in this that's relatable to me with the main character of just doing shit that you know that you wouldn't like morally or normally do, but you do it anyway just to get into this like group of kids that you deem to be like more popular than you. There's some incredibly good kid acting in this movie. It's kind of a miracle this movie got made to me, because you're dealing with a bunch of actors who are, I want to say, like from the ages of like 12 to 16. And you have to wrangle all of these kids together, and a lot of like group scenes and very like technically coordinated scenes. Like there's like a bunch of scenes where there's just a kid where there's kids playing water polo. Like it's kind of a miracle this movie got made to me, and that these kids were so cooperative, or at least it seemed like that from the final edit. But I do want to shout out especially this kid K.O. Martin, who essentially plays the antagonist in this movie. He has a couple scenes where his facial acting is super impressive for his age. And this movie has a very interesting ending that I did not see coming. And it's one of those ones where it's like I still don't know how to feel about it like a month later. But I mean, I want to say I like it. It's a very bold choice to end this movie the way it does. And what I like about it is that there's multiple ways that it could be interpreted. But I definitely recommend this movie and checking it out. I gave it a 8 out of 10. The next movie I watched last month was on January 9th. And it was Is This Thing On? Written by Will Arnett, Mark Chappell, and Bradley Cooper, and directed by Bradley Cooper. I mostly went into this movie just interested to see what a dramatic Will Arnett performance looks like. I really, really love Will Arnett as like a comedic actor, especially in BoJack Horseman. He has a lot of room to let his dramatic chops shine, but that is voice acting. So I did want to see what a live action dramatic performance from Will Arnett looks like. And I also went into this just curious to see what Bradley Cooper was doing after Maestro. I thought Maestro was a fine movie, but it is very clearly a vanity project. It is very clearly a movie being like, hey, look what I can do. Isn't it cool? And it is incredibly annoying sometimes, but it is a fine movie. This one I like way more. It's definitely a lot more grounded. It's pretty much like the direct opposite of Maestro. I mean, this movie's about a fictional character, and it feels way more intimate than his biopic did. It's interesting because Bradley Cooper's character in this movie, I think, is a direct response to the negative criticisms of Maestro, where in this movie he plays a character that is so deep into his like ego toward acting, just not really ready to admit when his dream is kind of just over. And to top it all off, he fucking names that character Balls. So, I mean, I do think this is maybe a career best performance for Will Arnett. God, my hair is pissing me off today, man. I feel like every time this video jump cuts, I look like a completely different person. Yeah, but I want to say this is probably at least live action career best performance for Will Arnett. There's a couple episodes of BoJack Horseman that are like pretty like higher than this for me, especially Free Churro. I mean, it's a pretty simple but engaging story. Newly divorced dad trying to find purpose in life through stand-up. I think it's pretty interesting. The rise in him getting better at stand-up throughout the movie is pretty engaging to me. It's fun to watch. I think the stand-up stuff in this movie is pretty good. Pretty funny stuff, you know. This movie charmed me enough to where I can look past what would be some of the weeds here. I do think once we kind of move away from the stand-up aspect of the movie, it gets a little less interesting. But overall, I did really like this. I give it an 8 out of 10. The next movie I saw last month was also on January 9th, and it was No Other Choice, written by Park Chan-wook, Lee Kyung-mi, Don McKellar, and Lee Ja-hee, and directed by Park Chan-wook. If you saw my best and worst movies of 2025, it was pretty high. I believe it was number 5 on that list. I pretty much said everything I want to about that movie there, but I will reinstate here that it is inspiring, mind-blowing, just incredibly fun watch. I really want to watch it again. And then the next movie I saw last month was on January 11th, The Chronology of Water, written by Andy Mingo and Kristen Stewart and directed by Kristen Stewart. For a directorial debut, this is an incredibly confident and uncompromising movie. The editing, sound design, and just plot structure choices in this are very, very interesting to me. I've seen a couple people describe this movie as like French New Wave-esque cinema. I don't really know what that means. I just wanted to bring that up because I'm sure what this movie's doing isn't wholly original, but it was not what I was expecting at all. The way I would describe the plot of this movie is that it's sort of similar to Sorry Baby, but instead of the movie being like emotionally overcoming this extremely bad thing that happened to you, this movie is about what if you literally can't get over it? What if it literally is attached to your identity? It is all you think about, and it's pretty harrowing sometimes. And it really all comes down to Imogen Poots' performance in this movie. It's a funny name. It's a funny name. I'm sorry. I used to laugh at it every time I would see it. This movie, her performance in this movie has changed my way of thinking forever. I will, out of respect for this performance, I will not be laughing at Imogen Poots' name, at least intentionally, any longer. My formal apology. I am sorry, Imogen Poots. I mean, we want to talk about uncompromising filmmaking. What an uncompromising performance. I mean, the front runner other than Kate Hudson for Best Lead Actress was Amanda Seyfried. I think Imogen Poots should be in that conversation, man, to be honest. She really just sells the just disheveledness of the feeling of the movie. Random Jim Belushi jump scare, by the way. I was not expecting fucking Jim Belushi to show up out of nowhere in this movie. I mean, I guess if you're in Twin Peaks: The Return, you can be anything. I would say Kristen Stewart's got the sauce, man. I mean, she's kind of a force to be reckoned with, man, to be honest. Like, when she really taps into something, she fucking goes off, bro. I'm giving this movie an 8 out of 10. It's very good. And then the next movie I saw last month was on January 16th, Dead Man's Wire, written by Austin Kolodny and directed by Gus Van Sant. This is my first Gus Van Sant movie. Zant, whatever. This is my first of his movies. I mostly went into this because I actually know the story that this movie is based on. I mean, this is based on a real life event. Incredibly interesting thing that happened. And even though I do know the story already, this movie was engaging for me. There's a lot that this movie is trying to, I guess, reinstate with why this thing happened in the first place, where it's just like greedy corporate fucks just screwing over working class people, you know? I wish it fully focused on that, because there's kind of this unnecessary B plot with these like news reporters. There's this B plot with this news reporter that's trying to make a name out of herself and get out of daytime like news cycle and get into like prime time, and then she hears about this big thing that's happening, and she never really does anything all that special. She never really captures anything that like changes anything. If you wanted to tell a story about the news getting in the way of stopping some fucked up shit going on, there's multiple other stories you can tell. There was just no need for that B plot to be in this movie, to be honest. Yeah, other than that, I had a fun time with it. Doesn't reinvent the wheel on anything really, but I feel like this is a very interesting story that is done justice, I would say. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. And then the next movie I saw was on the same day, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, written by Alex Garland and directed by Nia DaCosta. Holy fuck. I'm going to come out and say it. This is pretty easily my favorite 28 blank later. It's just fun, man. This movie's just fucking awesome. I guess for context, I didn't talk about 28 Years Later last year. I thought it was a good movie. I've never really been super into the 28 movies. I kind of have a hot take that I think 28 Days Later is just fine. But this movie, what I like about it the most, I think really comes down to Nia DaCosta and her directing style. It's way different than the other 28 movies, where everything is just so heightened all the time, for better or for worse. Here you have chances to relax in the world and the characters. There's a dialogue scene with Jack O'Connell and Ralph Fiennes that is like probably the best scene in the whole franchise, other than another scene with Ralph Fiennes. And what it's doing here plot-wise, I think, is the most interesting that's going on. Especially with Samson, the alpha. I loved him in this movie. I think the performance by Chai Perry in this movie is incredible. I cannot wait to see what they do with him in part 3, hoping they make it. I mean, to be honest, I think this is one of my favorite Ralph Fiennes performances that I've seen. I mean, he is so charismatic in this movie, so full of energy when he needs to be. It's insane some of the stuff he's doing in this movie at his age. I mean, and Jack O'Connell in this movie is fantastic. I mean, he's fun and hilarious when he needs to be, but also like threatening when he needs to be. I will say that Spike in this movie kind of takes a back seat, at least in my mind, for this movie. I kind of don't care. Even the scenes without him in this movie are still fun as hell. It's the grittiest of the series so far. I mean, I think that's part of the reason why I like it so much. It's really not afraid to play with tone, because there's moments where this movie's terrifying, this movie's hilarious, this movie is just straight up awesome. Sometimes it's sentimental. It's definitely the most interesting to watch and think about for me. I don't know. I loved this one, man. I gave it a 9 out of 10. An awesome movie. I really hope they're able to make part 3. I do really hope. Honestly, I could not care less about Spike. I just want to know what happens to Samson, man. To be honest, I fucking love that guy, man. And then the next movie I saw last month was on January 23rd, and it was The Testament of Ann Lee, written by Mona Fastvoid and Brady Corbet, and directed by Mona Fastvoid. New movie from the creators of The Brutalist, which I liked overall. I think the first half of The Brutalist is pretty easily the best part about it. The way The Brutalist ends, I don't think makes watching the rest of the movie really worth it. I'll be honest. But there was enough filmmaking in that movie that was like incredible that I wanted to keep following whatever Brady Corbet or that team does next. And this is the next one, and it is fine. I wasn't into this one, man. I really wasn't. I kind of was just watching it being like, all right. I think this movie is trying to say something about these puritanical groups that kind of just come into already established communities and just kind of fuck shit over. I don't know. This movie just doesn't really do anything for me. I don't think the music in this movie is like that great. Some of the sequences are cool, and then some of the sequences feel a bit lazy. I mean, Amanda Seyfried is very good in this. She kind of carries the whole movie for me. Holy fuck, why do I have to have hiccups right now? Amanda Seyfried's very good. That's all I really get out of it, to be honest. I really don't have anything to say about it. It looks good. It's acted pretty well. It's just like, I kind of just don't care. It's just one of those movies where I just kind of don't give a shit, to be honest. 5 out of 10. I don't know. Oh, shit, that was gross. And then the next movie I watched last month was on January 28th, and it was Zootopia 2, written by Jared Bush and directed by Jared Bush and Byron Howard. This one's also fine. Pretty inoffensive to me, other than a few what does the fox say jokes. In 2025, what the fuck are we doing? I'll have more to say about this movie in my Oscar ranked video, but for right now, I'll say it's fine. I feel like I'm the only furry that liked Elio more than Zootopia 2. 5 out of 10. The next movie I watched last month was on January 29th, and it was Iron Lung, written and directed by Mark Fishbach, aka Markiplier. I thought this was pretty decent. I went into this really wanting to like it. I do love Markiplier a lot. Just a very genuine, caring dude, you know, like probably one of the best big YouTubers that are on the platform. And I have liked some of his side projects in the past. I mean, a Heist and In Space with Markiplier are really fun projects. But the thing is, those are more, I guess, comedic and intentionally goofy. Meanwhile, this, from what I could tell before going into it, and especially after watching it, is a more direct and serious, dramatic movie. Overall, I think it does a pretty decent job in doing that. I will say Markiplier kind of has directing sauce. I'm not going to lie. I mean, this movie takes place just in one area, and the only big issues I have with the movie comes down to the screenplay, not really the directing. I think this movie gets lost in its exposition. I mean, the fact that it takes place only in one location the entire time, you kind of have to give a bunch of the reasoning of why shit is happening through dialogue. But I think that could have been done a bit better. There's a lot of moments where the movie kind of grinds to a halt to kind of explain what's happening like in the world or with Markiplier's character. But when the montage scenes and the more action-oriented scenes, I think it shines pretty well. I saw a lot of Sam Raimi-isms in this movie with how it was shot, which was not what I was expecting at all. There's a lot of obtuse angles. They really stick a camera into every nook and cranny in this set. I think Markiplier as a dramatic actor is fine. There's some scenes where he can really carry the emotion behind it, and then there's some scenes where I can like see the cracks a little bit. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But overall, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing another directed by Markiplier thing. I'd be curious on what he does if he's not in it, if he just straight up has to direct it. I think he could do pretty well, to be honest. If he had a good script, he can make a banger. He can make a banger. I can see it. But for Iron Lung, I would say I like it overall. Does not need to be 2 hours. It really does not need to be over 2 hours. Overall, 6 out of 10. Pretty solid time, you know? And then the next movie I saw was on January 30th. Send Help, written by Damian Shannon and Mark Swift and directed by Sam Raimi. I'm so happy to see Sam Raimi just truly back in his element. And I'm happy it's with this movie because what this movie is saying is very obvious. This could be a very like, okay, we get it type of movie. But I think with Sam Raimi's intentional corniness, I think this movie gets away with being pretty obvious. I mean, this movie's just fun to me, man. I mean, even with the setup scenes, there's still very interesting filmmaking things happening. There's a shot with an eyeball where I like sat up in my chair. I was like, okay, I'm locked the fuck in. I think Dylan O'Brien and Rachel McAdams do great in this movie. It's a very fun time. I really don't have much else to say about it other than I hope Sam Raimi can keep making movies that he wants to make. 7 out of 10. And then the last movie I saw last month was also on the same day. Arco, written by Hugo Bienvenu and Felix de Gevry, and directed by Hugo Bienvenu. Again, I'll have more to say about this in my Oscar ranked video, but for now, I think this movie is fine, solid. I do have some big issues with it. I think it has kind of the same problems that Anemone has, where this movie spends most of its runtime with shit that could really be condensed down way more, and then the last like 5 minutes happen. The most interesting aspect of the movie gets introduced and then the movie cuts off. That's my biggest issue with it. I will also say that Neon apparently only has the rights to like the English dub, so I watched that instead of with the original French dialogue. But even with then, I think I would have the same problems. Yeah, like I said, I'll have more to say about this in depth in the future. But for right now, 6 out of 10. That's it for January. Pretty solid month for movies, I would say. Pretty all across the board, too. In a couple days, I'm seeing Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. I'm so excited for that. I've had that fucking Ben Folds 5 song stuck in my head all day, bro. I am not going to see Wuthering Heights. I am choosing to not see it. I will listen to the Charli XCX album, though. But that will be my engagement with the movie unless it gets nominated for an Oscar in like a year. Depending on when Neon decides the fucking wide release Surratt, my next video should be trip to the theater February. I've already got some bangers, bro. Fucking don't even get me started on Resurrection. Holy shit, dude.